William Shakespeare, the full story of the man behind the world's greatest plays. William Shakespeare was the man who gave us Romeo and Juliet, Macbeth and Hamlet, a playwright so legendary that over 400 years after his death, his words still shape literature, film, and even how we speak today. But who was the real William Shakespeare? Was he a genius, a fraud, or something even more mysterious? Let's uncover the full story of William Shakespeare, his life, his family, and the legacy he left behind. A rustic English town, Stratford-upon-Avon, 1564. The story begins in Stratford-upon-Avon, England. William Shakespeare was born in April 1564, baptized on April 26th. His exact birth date remains unknown, but many believe he was born on April 23rd. A fitting coincidence, as he would later die on the same date. William was the third of 8 children, born to John Shakespeare, a glovemaker and town official, and Mary Arden, from a wealthy farming family. Though he likely attended the local grammar school, records of his education are lost to time. William Shakespeare's parents were Father John Shakespeare, who was a successful glovemaker, leather worker, and wool dealer. He was also involved in town politics, serving as an alderman and later the bailiff mayor of Stratford-upon-Avon. However, later in life he faced financial struggles. His mother, Mary Arden, came from a wealthy farming family. Her father, Robert Arden, was a prosperous landowner. Mary brought considerable wealth into the Shakespeare family. William Shakespeare's siblings. Joan Shakespeare, born 1558, died in infancy. Margaret Shakespeare, born 1562, died in infancy. William Shakespeare, born 1564, the famous playwright. Gilbert Shakespeare, born 1566, died 1612, became a haberdasher, sold clothing and accessories in London. Joan Shakespeare, born 1569, lived until 1646, named after her deceased older sister. She outlived all her siblings. Anne Shakespeare, born 1571, died at age 8 in 1579. Richard Shakespeare, born 1574, died 1613. Edmund Shakespeare, born 1580, died 1607, became an actor in London but died young at age 27. One thing is certain, young William grew up surrounded by stories, poetry, and the rich traditions of Elizabethan England. The mysterious lost years of a young Shakespeare vanishes from the records. Shakespeare disappears. Between 1585 and 1592, historians call this period his lost years. Some say he worked as a schoolteacher. Others claim he fled after poaching deer from a nobleman's land. There's even a theory that he traveled to Italy. Whatever the truth, when Shakespeare re-emerges in 1592, he was already making a name for himself in London's theatrical scene. By the 1590s, Shakespeare was writing and acting for a company called the Lord Chamberlain's Men. His early plays, like Henry VI and Titus Andronicus, gained popularity, but it was in the late 1590s that he truly found his voice with classics like Romeo and Juliet, A Midsummer Night's Dream and The Merchant of Venice. Shakespeare introduced over 1,700 words to the English. His works weren't just stories, they reflected human nature, power, love, betrayal, and ambition. And with the support of Queen Elizabeth I and later King James I, Shakespeare's career soared. Shakespeare the man. At just 18 years old, he married Anne Hathaway, who was 26 and already pregnant. Together they had 3 children, Susanna, and twins Hamnet and Judith. Sadly, in 1596 Hamnet died at just 11 years old, but the exact cause of his death is unknown. Some historians and scholars speculate that he may have died from the bubonic plague, which was common in England at the time and had high mortality rates among children. However, there is no concrete historical record confirming this as the cause. Hamlet's death deeply affected Shakespeare, and many believe it influenced his later works, particularly Hamlet, which bears a strikingly similar name. Themes of grief, loss, and mortality became more prominent in his plays after this period, suggesting that his son's passing left a lasting impact on him. Judith Shakespeare, born 1585, was Hamlet's twin sister. She married Thomas Quiney, while her sister Susanna married Dr. John Hall, a respected physician. Judith and Thomas had 3 children, Shakespeare, Richard, and Thomas Quiney. But sadly, none of them survived to adulthood. In contrast, Susanna and Dr. John Hall had one daughter, Elizabeth Hall, who became Shakespeare's only grandchild to survive to adulthood. Since Shakespeare's direct bloodline ended with his granddaughter Elizabeth, there are no living descendants of William Shakespeare today. Despite his London success, Shakespeare frequently returned to Stratford, where he purchased New Place, a grand estate. Despite his literary fame, he remained deeply tied to his hometown. As he grew older, Shakespeare continued writing. His later plays, like The Tempest, took on a more reflective, even mystical tone. Around 1613, he retired to Stratford, living out his final years in peace. Then, on April 23, 1616, his supposed birthday, William Shakespeare died at the age of 52. Some say he drank too much at a gathering with friends, others suggest he fell ill. Whatever the cause, he was laid to rest in Holy Trinity Church, where his grave bears a chilling warning to anyone who dares move his bones. Shakespeare's works are still performed worldwide. Though he died over 400 years ago, Shakespeare's impact is eternal. His plays are performed in every corner of the world, his words shape our language, and his stories continue to inspire new generations. William Shakespeare wrote 39 plays, and many of them are considered masterpieces. Here are some of his best and most famous plays, categorized by genre. Hamlet. A prince seeks revenge after his father's ghost reveals a betrayal. Macbeth. A Scottish noble's ambition leads to murder and madness. Othello. A tragic tale of jealousy and deceit. King Lear. A king's mistake leads to betrayal and ruin. Othello. A gripping tale of jealousy, manipulation, and betrayal. Oh, beware, my lord, of jealousy. King Lear. A powerful king makes a grave mistake, leading to betrayal and madness. Romeo and Juliet. The most famous love story ever written, about 2 star-crossed lovers from feuding families. Henry V, a heroic tale of war, leadership, and the legendary St. Crispin's Day speech. Richard III, a ruthless, ambitious villain, schemes his way to the throne. Now is the winter of our discontent. Henry IV, Parts 1 and 2, chronicles the rise of Prince Hal, who later becomes Henry V. Twelfth Night, a story of disguise, love triangles, and comedy. If music is the food of love, play on. Much Ado About Nothing, a battle of wits between 2 reluctant lovers, Benedick and Beatrice, and much more. Many phrases we use today come from Shakespeare. Examples: break the ice, wild goose chase, wear my heart on my sleeve. But one mystery remains. Did Shakespeare really write all of his works? Some believe others, like Francis Bacon or Christopher Marlowe, were the true authors. Let's continue the debate in the comments. The legend of William Shakespeare lives on. He may have left this world, but his words remain immortal. If you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell for more untold stories.